We are on page 79, actually. But just a quick review. We are talking about the Beinoni. And we said, let's do a quick catch-up of what's the purpose of what's the role of the Beinoni. So the Beinoni, we learned, needs to do the right thing no matter what. It doesn't matter whether he wants to or he doesn't want to. Just do the right thing. That's the level of the Beinoni that we discussed. Let me summarize the whole thing and then we're going to get to it. Okay? If you don't agree on something, then you can ask the question. Let me summarize the whole thing and then we'll talk. So, the Beinoni, the first thing we learned about him, he needs to have the right action. We don't care about his intentions. Then the Alter Rebbe tells us, it's not, you won't find such a creature. Because a person who doesn't have his emotions and his intellect align with his actions, it's very difficult to live your entire life, every second of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, fighting against your inclination. It's just too difficult. So what you need to do, you need to start getting your emotion and intellect aligned with God, aligned with the commandments. And then he gave us a way to do it. He says, get up in the morning, learn about God, Kabbalah, Hasidus, whatever it is, learn about God for an hour and a half before you're davening or before you do anything. And then you're going to give birth to emotions about God. You're going to start loving God. You're going to start having awe of God. And that will help you throughout the day. And then he continues and he says, that's a very nice thing to say, but most people, you can give them 10 hours a day, 365 days a year, for 80 years, and they're still going to like steak more than they like tefillin. Yeah, even though they learn the whole day, person doesn't change. Yeah, most people are not going to be able to feel the love of God in their heart as much as they feel the love of money in their heart, or the love of women in their heart, or the love of food in their heart. That's where we're in the next part. So then he says, as long as you can at least have an intellectual kind of love, what does it mean? You're not going to feel it in your heart. But if I ask you, do you want to be there? You would tell me yes. So God says, I'll consider it as if you are there, and God looks at it as a true service of God. It's like, God looks at you, you're truly serving God. That's the way we learned before. Now, the last time we were introduced to a new thing. There's a new system. Now, the old system, how do you have to have your emotions and intellect aligned with your action? So the old system means you have to study. And you have to study a lot. And what about those people who are not learned? You want to tell me that they can't have a love for God? Yeah? So I'm not a learned person. I don't have the time to study every day for 3-4 hours. So what do you tell me now? I can't have a love of God in my heart. So it says, you can. There's another love of God that's called Ahava Mesuteret, the hidden love of God, that each and every Jew has it. Everybody has it. How did we have it? We inherited from Avraham Avinu. Every Jew inherited this kind of love from Avraham Avinu. It's a race, just like dogs. Some races of dogs are kinder than other races of dogs. Some races of dog are more aggressive than other races of dog. Pit bulls are more aggressive than Cocker Spaniels, whatever. I don't know if it's true, but that's But you understand. But Chihuahua is very aggressive. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Some are more nice than other ones. So every Jew inherited a love of God from Avraham Avinu. Then he asks some questions, which we're going to leave in the side for now. I'm just going to mention the questions. The question that he asks is, love is not an inherited trait. You can't inherit love, which means that if I love a certain person, that doesn't mean that my love is going to be born with a love to the certain person. If I love this guy, my son is not going to be born loving this guy. Maybe my height, my kindness can transfer. But over here it says love. Love doesn't transfer. So we're going to leave that question in the side. But nevertheless, we inherited, he says, from Avraham Avinu. We're going to answer that question later on. So last time, we said that every Jew, no matter what status he is, whether he keeps commandments, whether he doesn't keep commandments, has the love of God in himself. This is why the only concept of an atheist Jew, that concept that the guy screams, I'm atheist, but I'm Jewish, only appears within the Jewish nation. No other nation, nobody else screams, I'm an atheist Muslim, or I'm an atheist Buddhist. Because an atheist and Buddhist are two opposite things. An atheist and Muslims are two opposite things. An atheist and Jew should also be two. But we're not talking about a religion, it looks like. We're talking about something that you inherited from Avraham Avinu. So this hidden part of God is what we inherited from Avraham Avinu. And this is, every Jew has it. So now we have a way. If we're going to awaken that hidden part of God, maybe we can become a Benoni with this power. We don't need to meditate. Yeah? Just the same that every Jew says, even if he doesn't believe in God, he says, I'm an atheist Jew. That's right. This is where we were last time. This is where we ended last time. In the middle of page 79 or page 78 in the English. And we write where it says 1st of Shvat of 9 of Shvat in the English. And in the Hebrew, it's on page 79. Two lines from the top in the Hebrew. It's page 79, 2 lines from the top.
I think the large ones are different from the small ones.
What is that?
I think the large ones are different from the small ones.
They might be. They might be, yeah. If you give me a small one, I'll check if it's where it is in the small one. In the small ones, yeah, in the small one it's 78 in the English and 77 in the Hebrew. The opposite. 78 in the Hebrew, 77 in the English, in the small ones. Instead of 79, 78, 78, 77. But it's the same print. Okay.
How did you stop?
Hine ha-chokhmah. Third line. In the third line. Hine ha-chokhmah. Behold the chokhmah. It says, so where does this emunah, where does this love of God come from? So it's going to tell you it comes from the level of chokhmah. From the level of chokhmah. So we learned a little bit what of chokhmah was before. Let me just explain what is chokhmah. Usually it translates into intellect, but that's not a good translation, or wisdom. Yeah? Chokhmah, if you don't understand something, you're in the dark for years without understanding it, and then you're thinking, if you're a scientist, you're thinking about the subject very intently, and then all of a sudden, eureka! You remember Newton under the tree, when the apple falls on his head? I understand. Gravity, or whatever it is. That moment is the moment of Chokhmah. Now ask yourself, what happened at that moment? What did you understand? You saw. You saw something. In other words, what's the difference between seeing something and understanding something?
Idea?
Yeah, you saw an idea. Very good. You saw an idea. So, but did I see an idea or did I understand an idea? So it's two different things. So it's two different things. Let me give you an example. this phone right here, do I need to prove to you that this phone is here? No. Why not?
Because I see it.
Because you see it. But you know what else is right here in this room right now? There are pictures flying around right here in this room. Hundreds and thousands of pictures and sounds and movies. Do you believe me?
No.
Because you don't see it. But I can prove to you that it's here. How can I prove to you? I can open up my phone and I can download these things, and then you're going to understand. You're going to ask me, where's the pictures came from? So it says they're actually traveling in the air. So in the air, there's actually pictures and movies and all kinds of things. Yeah? So in the things that you don't see, you need to understand. How come you don't need to understand that the phone is here? Because the phone comes to you. It enters your being. Sight, it means you see it. You can't argue with sight. I see it. You can argue with my explanation. You can tell me maybe it's not in the air, maybe it's in the memory of the phone. Yeah, and then I will have to show you that the memory is empty and I still can do. But you can argue. Yeah, until then, when you have an explanation, you can always argue about the explanation. That's what it is, yes.
Would this be like revelation? Is that a good word for it?
Yeah.
Revelation?
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what revelation exactly is, but yes, it's very,
You have an insight, something's revealed to you.
yeah, you see the concept. That's right, you see the concept. Over here, just like you say in Chokhmah, you understand the concept. An atheist Jew that says, I'm a Jew, the reason why he says, I'm a Jew, because his neshama, whether he likes it or not, sees something. And he cannot tell you, I don't see it. That's why he tells you, I'm an atheist, I don't understand it, but I see it. The shout, what?
See it or feel it?
See it in Chokhmah. His neshama sees it. It's for him clear. You can give. I don't under. For me, in other way, in his brain, there's no difference. If you ask his intellect, he will tell you there's no difference between a Jew and a non-Jew. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same body. The guy is a professor in university. He's a whatever. He's a medical thing. It's into medicine. People are people. It's the same thing. His neshama tells him. He sees in his neshama. I don't understand why, but I see it differently. I see that I cannot, a non-Jew can be atheist and he cannot be religious, but I am, even though I'm atheist, I don't believe in God, but I see God. Yeah, this is the two things. I see God. His neshama is shouting, there's God. So let's look inside. Hine ha-chokhmah hi mekor ha-sechel. The Chokhmah is the source of Bina, the source of wisdom. Ve'hahavana, and the understanding. Ve'i lemala me'abina. It is above understanding. Shehu havanat ha-sechel ve'asagato. I'm just going to explain Bina in short, so that just going to understand the words, even though we don't need it to understand it right now. Chokhmah is the spark that, I understand the idea. Right? Usually 2 seconds later, I ask you, what did you understand? It's just like a lightning. It comes for 1 second and it immediately disappears. It doesn't exist here. It just shines in this world for 1 second. You see something for 1 second and then it's gone. So what do? You need to do then? You need to recreate the image in your mind's eye. Recreating the image in the mind's eye is the process of Bina. That's what Bina is. By the way, think about it always like a child. The Chokhmah is the Yud, represented by Yud, is all the information is right there. It's like the seed of the father, and the Bina is like the mother. She takes the seed and she develops it into the idea, into the baby, into all its limbs, into all its directions. והחוכמה, and we say the chokhmah, it disappears, it never stays here. You can't catch it in this world. It cannot come into this physical world and be caught. והחוכמה היא למעלה מההבנה וההשגה. It is above this understanding. והיא מקור להן. But it's the source of the bina. You have to have chokhmah before you start thinking about something. וזהו לשון חוכמה, and this is what the word chokhmah in Hebrew means. כוח מה? A strength what? Because we can't grab that. It's what kind of strength is this? It's a strength that cannot come into this world. We cannot grab it into this world. It shines and it is gone. שהוא מה שאינו מושג ומובן. It means that it's never actually comes down and understood. ואינו נתפס בהשגה עדיין. It is not actually grasped. ולכן, and therefore, מתלבש בה אור אין סוף ברוך הוא. The infinite light of God is dressed in it. דלית מחשבה תפיסה בכלל. And what kind of level of the infinite light of God? The kind of level that cannot be caught in this physical world. No human thought can grasp it. So if you ask that atheist Jew, why are you Jewish? Why are you saying you're Jewish? You know what he's going to tell you? No. You're a professor. Tell me, why are you a Jew? If you're an atheist, how can you be a Jew?
Because my mother was Jewish.
But that doesn't explain. You're the same as the non-Jew. You don't practice anything. You can be the Pope today. The Pope a Jew converted became the Pope. He's going to say, I'm the Pope, but what? I'm Jewish. In the way he looks at it, he's a Jewish Pope. That's the way he looks at himself. As a Jewish Pope. Yeah. What makes, how can intellect, so that if you ask him, what are you doing? You're a professor. I'm an atheist. The atheist means God doesn't exist. No such thing as a neshama. So if you ask if there's no such thing as a neshama, you're not Jewish. So he tells you, I cannot explain it to you. I cannot grasp it, but you know what? I see it. This is what it means, inherited from our forefathers. I see it. I can't argue. I can't argue with you. There's no argument. I told you this story, I'm going to tell you again because it emphasizes this point. When I was in yeshiva, on Fridays, we used to go and put on tefillin on people. So there was this one Israeli who used to work in the shmata business. He used to get all kinds of jeans and all kinds of garments from somebody else, and he used to tear it apart and then make a copy of it. That's what he used to do. Remember, that's what his whole thing was make fake, make fake things. Counterfeit, yeah, whatever. That's what his business for years. Shmata business, that's what he was. I don't think it was completely illegal because he used to change a little bit here and a little bit there, and just to make sure that they're not going to put him in jail. One of those things. And for years, I used to come to him, every day to put on tefillin. He never put on tefillin. He would love to argue. He used to say, the Torah is not true, the Torah is not this, you guys are just being brainwashed. Never, not once put on tefillin. But he liked to talk. So I used to come every week. I used to talk to him for 5-10 minutes and he used to go. One week I come over there and I tell him, and he's a big atheist, he doesn't believe in anything. He tells him, you have to come next week. He's all excited. I says, why do I have to come next week? He says, me and my wife just had a son. We're going to have a bris next week. So I tell him, excuse me. Hold on 1 second. I told him, I understand me. I believe in God. I believe God told me to make a bris. Right? And I will make a bris. But you're shouting at me for the past year that I've been coming here. There is no God. God doesn't exist. You believe in voodoo. You believe in stories that somebody told you. What bris? So he says, so he started tradition, my grandmother did it, my father did it, my grandfather did it. So I told you, because of tradition, you believe in some voodoo that your grandfather believed in, yeah, you're going to cut off a part of your son's body? It makes sense to you? He didn't know what to answer. You know what was his answer was in the end? I'm going to do it to my son. If you don't want, don't do it to your son. But my son is going to get it. Now, where does that come from? Where does that come from? Is intellectually, he cannot explain in the intellect why he's doing it. He actually doesn't understand why he's doing it. It's against everything he stands for. You're taking a child, you force him into the covenant, you didn't ask his permission, you didn't ask him, you're barbaric. It's the same way we look at the Muslims cutting off the genitalia of the women. What are you doing? It's the same thing. Who gave you permission to hurt a child? But his soul sees that this is the truth, and no matter what his intellect is going to scream, he's going to do it. Yeah? ולכן, and therefore it says, ולכן, and therefore, כל ישראל, or every Jew, אפילו הנשים, even the women. The reason why it says the women over here, because the women in Jewish history were never learned. They never went to yeshiva. They didn't have the education. It says people who have no intellect of why they're doing it, the commandments and so on and so forth, ועמי הארץ, and even the ignoramus, the people who don't understand, who didn't get any education, הם מאמינים בהשם, they believe in God, no matter what. שהאמונה היא למעלה מן הדעת וההשגה. Because they see it, and when they see it with the, for sure. And the understanding, we said, understanding tells them it's not really there. But it says, what can I do? I see it. My understanding can shut whatever it wants, but I see it. Think about like this. I'm an astronomer, very dedicated. They know about it all over the world. And I know that tomorrow there's going to be an eclipse of the sun. So I tell all my friends, guys, between the times 2 and 4 tomorrow, there's going to be an eclipse. Everybody has to come. I get all my faculties to come and to there, and I say, I go all over the news. I made the calculation. There's going to be an eclipse 100%. There's not even a question about it. But I'm so excited about the eclipse tomorrow that during the night, I couldn't sleep. And just before the eclipse happened, I fell asleep. And I woke up when the eclipse is over. Yeah? And then I come to the first guy. He says, did you see it? So everybody tells me the eclipse didn't happen. I'm asking you, did the eclipse happen or didn't happen?
It happened, but you didn't see it.
I didn't see it for sure, but everybody else didn't see it either now. They were awake. They were waiting for it.
Oh,
and everybody else tells me it didn't happen. What do I think? Where do I put my money? It happened or it didn't happen?
It didn't happen.
But my calculations?
You got witnesses.
But my calculations? No, they're not wrong. Everybody admits that they're right. I know 100% calculation is right. There's no question about it. See, seeing is believing. You know the saying, seeing is believing? You can't argue with sight. Everybody looked, it didn't happen. What can you do? You can't argue. Your brain says it happened, it must have happened. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your brain says. Yeah? And over here, that's what he says, Emunah hi lemala min hadat. The emunah is above your understanding. You can understand one thing, but you see, it didn't. Same thing over here. That guy that did the bris to his son, his intellect says you shouldn't do bris to his son. But he says that he needs to do a brit to his son, circumcise his son. And how we're going to learn this now? Ki peti ya'amin lechol davar. Here comes the expression which is not used in modern Hebrew at all the way it is used in the Gemara. It actually probably has the opposite connotation in modern Hebrew. Peti ya'amin lechol davar means a fool will believe anything you tell him. That's in modern Hebrew. But that's not what it means over here. Over here it means a person who has a munah, once you see the sight, you're going to believe. It doesn't matter what you see, you're going to believe it. Because when your soul sees something, seeing is believing. You're going to believe that this is the truth is what you saw. ולגבי הקדוש ברוך הוא, and when it comes to God, שהוא למעלה מן השכל והדעת. God is above intellect. And we said, like we said, ולית מחשבה תפסה בכלל. And you can't grasp godliness at all. הכל כפתיעים אצלו. Everybody is like a fool concerning God. It's not like with intellect you can grasp God. So over here, when the neshama says, I see godliness, and your intellect says, I don't understand, so immediately the intellect also shouts, of course you don't understand. Can you understand God? Even your intellect shouts it. It says even your intellect knows that God works in a realm, in physics, that you can't understand. So then what comes out of it? You believe the sight more than you believe the intellect. הכל כפתיעים אצלו יתברך. Everybody is like a fool by God. כדכתיב, just like King David says, ואני באר, it says, and I am a cow. I'm like a cow that has no understanding. ולא אדע, I have no understanding. So as much understanding as I do have, my understanding compared to the understanding that God of godliness, it's like a cow trying to understand a human being or trying to understand calculus. I'm like a cow trying to understand calculus. It's going to work. Behemot haiti imach. I'm just like a behemoth. I'm just like a bull compared to that kind of thinking. Ve'ani tamid imach. Ve'ani tamid, but I'm always with you. What does that mean? כלומר, שבזה שאני באר ובהמות, the fact that I am in ignoramus and I'm a level of a cow, a level of an animal, אני תמיד עמך, but I'm always with you. Why? Because the neshama still sees the truth. ולכן, and here we see something which only appears within the Jewish nation. Murders. Murders are only within the Jewish nation. People who are willing to die are only within the Jewish nation. And you're going to tell me, Rabbi, what are you talking about? Christians are willing to die every day. Muslims are willing to die. American citizens are willing to send their children for war. Why? It's all true, but why are they all willing to do it? Because they're religious. They believe in the cause. They think that the cause is right. So a Christian who believes in Christianity will be willing to die for the cause. A Muslim who believes in Islam would be willing to die for the cause. But a Muslim who this morning drank alcohol and ate bacon, if you put a gun into his head and you tell him, eat some more bacon, he will never be willing to die. Because he doesn't believe it. He doesn't believe in it. Look at the Jewish nation. Throughout the Jewish history, I'm not talking about thousands, I'm not talking about tens of thousands. I'm talking about millions. Millions of atheist Jews died, and when they died, for God. You know what always comes into my mind in this example? Daniel Pearl. Everybody remember Daniel Pearl? Daniel Pearl was a complete atheist Jew. He died When he died, what did he say? My grandfather was a Jew, my father was a Jew, and I'm going to die as a Jew. Where does that come from? He's an atheist Jew. If you ask him a week before, if you asked him a week before, do you believe in God? Or a week before he got captured, he would tell you absolutely not. I don't believe it. Where does it come from? Atheist Jews, I'll tell you another story just to remember. In Poland, when the Germans, Ymach Shimam, came into Poland and they wanted to find who are the Jews, a lot of the Polish villages, especially in the small villages, the neighbors used to hide Jews in their house. Polish Jews in their house. Specifically the kids. 10-year-olds, 5-year-olds, maybe the family ran away, but they left the small kids behind, maybe they're going to survive. And what the Germans used to do, and we're talking about, we're not talking about religious Jews over here. Religious Jews for sure, I understand. Talking non-religious Jews. Jews, you say the religious Jews ran with their family because they didn't want to go into a non-Jewish house to eat non-kosher. We're talking about people who didn't mind eating not kosher. Those kind of people, right? They didn't mind. What did the Germans used to do? The Germans used to go, gather everybody to the town square, go to the shul, open up a Sefer Torah in the town square, roll it down the path, and tell everybody to walk on it. And the Jews, the kids, non-kids, weren't able to do it. And the Germans, Ymach Shimam, knew that. And the Jews didn't walk, and they sent them to the gas chambers. Yosef Mashiach, there's a famous story. ולכן, and that's where he says, אפילו קל שבקלים, even the most lowest of the lows, ופושעי ישראל, and even criminals, Jewish criminals, מוסרים נפשם על קדושת השם, they give their soul to sanctify God's name, על הרוב, in most cases. I'm not saying in all cases, but you see it in so many cases. There's millions of cases throughout Jewish history. You are not going to find me 1,000 cases, a non-Christian that is willing to die for Christianity. If he's not Christian, he's not willing to die for Christianity. If he's not a Muslim, he's not willing to die for Islam. But Jews who are claiming I'm atheist are willing, and there's many, many other stories. You can go to Jewish history and you can see it. Not only that, וסובלים עינויים קשים שלא לכפור בהשם אחד. And sometimes they have to get tortured. For what? Not to go against God. ואף אם הם בורים ועמי הארץ. We're talking about not people who know who God is. People who are completely ignoramus. They don't know about the greatness of God. ואין יודעים גדולת השם. They don't know how great God is. They don't know him. You ask, I don't know. I'll tell you, I'll tell you another story. This is a personal story. I grew up in South Africa, and we moved from Israel. In Israel, I had 0 Jewish education. I was in shul maybe twice or 3 times in my life, a bar mitzvah of a family member, or a wedding of a family member. That's it. Never in a shul, I remember Pesach. You know what my memory from Pesach is? My memory from Pesach is me and my father used to go to the Arab villages to buy bread, because there wasn't bread available in there. That's my memory from 0 Jewish education. Schools didn't teach anything. 0. They had 0 Jewish education. I came to South Africa. We came to South Africa, I was around the age of 12, 13. My sister was at the age of around 8 or 9. That was my sister. So my sister went into 8 or 9, what are you, first grade, second grade, whatever it is. So when she came over there, she doesn't know the language at all. So they started teaching her English. So she started teaching English. So she learns very good. After a week or 2 of her education, the teacher calls my mom. Why? She says she's learning until now, excellent learning, but she stopped learning and she refuses, no matter what we try to do with her, she refuses to continue to learn. And I don't understand, so, translate what's going on over here. So what happened? Just understand, we're talking about an 8-year-old who doesn't know anything. Nothing about Judaism. What happened was that they taught her all the letters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When they came and they told her to write the letter T, she decided the letter T is a cross. She's not writing the letter T. And no matter how much the teacher was trying to tell her, she says there is no way. And imagine, if you know my sister, she's a very sensitive soul. She's not going to be someone who's going to stand up to authority, especially when she was 8 years old, and especially in a new country, and especially if she doesn't know the language. But this, she put the line. Says, this I don't do. Not going to work. Where does that come from? Where? Jewish soul. This is what it means. And you think she had no idea. She had no idea who God is. Nobody ever told her the word God. She doesn't know. Something she heard, she felt, she said, this I don't do. וגם במעט שיודעים, and even in the little bit, you see, some people do know a little bit. It says, the fact that they know something, that's not the reason why they're willing to die for God. It's not their knowledge. וגם במעט שיודעים, אין מתבוננים כלל. It's not like they make a calculation, God is here, and I need to emphasize God's name. ואין נוסרים נפשם מחמת דעת והתבוננות. It's not like they are going and they're thinking, even those they do, I'm doing it for God, to sanctify God's name. אלא בלי שום דעת והתבוננות. They do it without any contemplation at all. רק כאילו, what are they doing? As if דבר שאי אפשר כלל לכפור בהשם אחד. It says, I cannot do it. There's no way I'll be able to do it. בלי שום טען וטענה ומענה. And no matter what argument you're going to give them, they tell me, I'm not going to do this. There's no way I'm going to do this. כלל, at all. Why? משום שהשם אחד מאיר ומחיה כל הנפש. Because God is enlivening their soul. על ידי התלבשותו מבחינת חוכמה. And the Chokhmah sees it. The Neshama sees it. And since it sees it, it is not capable to go against it. שהיא למעלה מן הדעת. And all the intellect in the world is not going to change it. והשכל המושג הוא מובן. And no matter what you're going to tell it, it doesn't make sense what you're doing. For example, in Jewish tradition, look how much it doesn't make sense. Look how stupid it is. A person puts the church captures a Jewish family, right? And we're talking about an extended family, 100 people, and it catches one of the people over there, and it tells him, the father or the grandfather or whoever, and they tell him, say you're a Christian. So he says, I am not going to say I'm a Christian. So he says, stay on you're a Christian or we're going to kill you. He says, I don't care. I'm not going to say I'm a Christian, kill me. But now they're going to say you're a Christian, if not, we're going to kill all your family. The intellect shouts, I'll say I'm a Christian, big deal. Your intellect is going to shout, say I'm a Christian, big deal. But the Neshama didn't let them do it. And see how stupid it is? The intellect is going to tell you, the intellect told those people, what am I saying? I don't even believe in it. It's anyway fake. It's just words. The person was not able to say, I'm a Christian. Intellectually, it doesn't make sense. Intellectually, the guy is an idiot. Intellectually, I don't know what you can say about it. It doesn't make sense. The whole concept here doesn't. Why wouldn't he do it? He can't. He can't because his neshama says, I see godliness, this is godliness, I cannot go against it. No matter what you're going to do to me. Now comes the question, if every Jew has it, How can we sin? And for the next 5 chapters, next 7 chapters, that's going to be our discussion. Just for that you know, the next 7, at least the next 5 chapters, is just going to describe this all. That's all you're going to do. We're going to go deeper and deeper at what you're seeing, what's going on over here. The last 2 chapters, not the last in the book, we're talking about from chapter 17 to chapter 25. So the last 2 chapters, chapter 24 and 25, is going to tell us how to use it in order to be a Beinoni. So all these chapters is going to give the blueprint of what we have over here. And then we're not going to get any information how to use it to become a Beinoni. Chapter 24 and 25, when we get to it, is going to tell us how to become that Beinoni. So we're in chapter 19 for next time.
You said early on that the Benoni doesn't do sins in action.
Mm-hmm.
Early on, my memory, he also doesn't think I should steal, and then he doesn't have lust in his heart. A Benoni,
That's a tzaddik. A Beinoni has lust. A tzaddik doesn't have lust.
No, that I know, but what in thoughts? What sins in thoughts a Benoni doesn't do?
Same thing as you. There's no difference between you and Beinoni. Same thing as me. The difference between a Beinoni and me is I do the sin and he doesn't.
So if you said, boy, it would be nice to do this,
He's a Beinoni.
and he's a Benoni, and
Sure.
don't do it.
As long as you don't do it. Not that you don't do it in action. In his mind, it's impossible. It's just like you. Again, use this example. It's a very good example. If you ask me, Rabbi, are you going to eat pig tomorrow? Go ahead, ask me. Ask me if I'm going to eat pig tomorrow.
Would you eat pig tomorrow?
I cannot see myself eating pig tomorrow. Says, Rabbi, can you promise me that you're not going to miss mincha tomorrow? Or the next year? Ask me that question.
Can you promise me that you wouldn't do smicha?
I wouldn't miss mincha. I can't. Mincha, I can't promise you I can't. I will. Sometimes I do. For eating pig, I'm a Beinoni. For missing mincha, ask me, are you going to not? Can you promise me not to get angry in the next year?
Can you promise me not to get...
Can't. A Beinoni knows, just like I know I'm not going to eat pig, he knows that he's not going to get angry. He's never going to go against God. He's always going to do. He knows it just like the way I know I'm not going to eat pig. He knows. But that doesn't mean that I don't have the desire. I'm not going to cheat on my wife. It doesn't mean I don't have desire for other women. There is no way I will be with them.
Sadiq doesn't even have...
Very good.
So the second question is more complicated.
Go ahead.
My brother-in-law daughter,
Your brother's-in-law daughter, okay?
okay? Her grandfather, his father, was Jewish.
Means nothing. The mother's, we care about mother, we don't care about...
So what happened to her soul?
Soul in Judaism today only mother side. Father is meaningless to that, the Jewish soul.
So if you are born to a Jewish mother and you haven't converted,
If you're born to a Jewish mother, you don't need to convert.
not born to a Jewish mother, and have not converted, you ask him, I'm Jewish. He goes, I remember in Chabad in New York, he knew that prayer is better than most. He wouldn't come in for a minute.
He doesn't have a Jewish soul. His neshama doesn't see what your neshama sees. By the way, our neshama, when did our neshama ever see what we said over here? Never. It doesn't happen. This is all talking in the clouds right here. We didn't make it concrete. We can't use this, by the way. Everything we learned today, you'll never be able to use. Because when it comes out only maybe once in your life when somebody with a gun is into your head. How many times does it happen to regular Jews throughout the day? In modern time, it never happens. Maybe it happened to the guys who got captured to Hamas. Yeah, today. But most people, everyday life, you can't use this.
Yeah, but all the fraud and all the...
Yeah, but he's saying, he's explaining it to us so we can use it to become a Beinoni.
Oh.
The question is, I can't use it.
You have it inside.
Yeah, but I can't use it. Exactly. It never comes out. It will come out maybe once a year. I mean, in a lifetime. How am I going to take from there? So that's what we're going to. We're not discussing it now. Remember, 24 and 25 we will discuss that.
I'll tell you what the Sadiq is a lot easier to understand than the Beinoni.
You mean
Sadiq is like, I mean, that's like a different creature. Like, that's like, I don't even know what that is. Like, you know, that's like someone who actually experiences what I experience and is capable of resisting it all the time. Like,
you mean it's easier to understand how a tzaddik is a tzaddik than how a Beinoni is a Beinoni?
yes.
Very good. I agree with you.
Yeah.
A Beinoni is a complicated creature. A tzaddik is not so complicated.
Yeah.
It's in understanding. A tzaddik is much easier to understand than a Beinoni is. You're right.
He's like an angel almost.
Yeah.
And you can go from a Russia or say through a tshuva and be a Beinoni.